Lyndon Galea was 25 years old when he learnt about a local crisis that soon began to eat away at him.
I'd read a local newspaper story in Shepparton that profiled kids at 2 schools in town who were regularly being sent to school without food from home, and come lunchtime were just missing out, and I was completely shocked. I love Shepparton, it's my hometown, it's an area I'll always care about very, very deeply, and I wanted to do something to help. And I was living with Mum and Dad, pinched what I could from Mum's cupboard, bread, cheese, margarine, Vegemite, bought some extra loaves and made 100 sandwiches for those first 2 schools.
Lyndon's simple act of kindness was warmly received, but it quickly dawned on him that just one delivery wasn't going to cut it.
Teachers were often filling these gaps themselves and spending money from their own pockets, making extra lunches themselves. And really it was the fact that they called back so quickly after that first drop and said, "Thanks, mate, that was a really great help. We'll have some more of those." And I just hadn't really thought that far. According to Food Bank Australia's research, 1 in 5 Australian kids have experienced food insecurity at some point over the past 12 months, which means essentially when they've been hungry and looking for a meal, they haven't been able to access that, which is a really heartbreaking statistic across Australia. The need stems from highly pressured financial circumstances at home, and there can be a multitude of factors that puts families in those circumstances, whether it's job loss, whether it's recently arriving in Australia, whether it's redundancies, whether it's substance issues. The need can really ebb and flow around the welfare payment cycle. So the need drops right down when a new payment arrives, which is really encouraging because it shows that parents want to and are feeding their kids when they've got the means to. But often in those final few days before a new payment arrives, where money's really at its scarcest, the need can really spike.
I've been feeling so good.
Determined to address this nationwide need, Lyndon founded Eat Up, Australia's only organisation providing free lunches for students on a national scale.
So Eat Up is an enormous collaboration. It's a collaboration between incredible companies who donate their product or funds through generous volunteers who make the sandwiches we deliver at an enormous scale, and then our team who manage and deliver those lunches directly to schools. The real heart of what we do is volunteering events, and in our case, we work with a lot of corporate groups in the capital cities, which gives us this enormous supply. So today we've been working with a law firm in Melbourne. We load up our van, we come on site, whether it's an open plan office, a boardroom, a kitchenette area. We'll put table covers on, gloves for everybody, bring all the cling wrap, all the ingredients. So we try and make our volunteering events for workplaces as easy and accessible as possible. With about that 20 volunteers, they can generally make 1,000 sandwiches in an hour, which is massive.
We've got a good production line going. It's all systems go, and everyone's got their role to play. So it's been good, and as long as everyone's kind of going full steam ahead, we're making those sandwiches really quickly.
It feels great. You know, we're lawyers. We don't normally do this stuff. We do a lot of pro bono work, helping people with legal issues. But this is a really physical thing that you can sit there, and at the end of the session you can see there's 1,000 sandwiches there, and the guys that Eat Up are great. They tell you all about what they're doing and who it's going to benefit. So it becomes really real as you're doing it. You know you're doing something to help someone, which is great.
We deliver those sandwiches to schools fresh, but in bulk. We'll give them enough for 3 weeks with each drop-off. The schools then freeze those sandwiches, so simple cheese sandwich, and they'll generally toast those lunches up.
1,000, easy.
For staff members like Laylaw Gardens Primary School Principal Fraser Thomas, the impact that a humble cheese toastie and a few recess snacks can have on a child's well-being is crystal clear.
A child going hungry makes a huge difference in a school. You can see straight away if a child has eaten or not eaten because of their concentration levels for one, their engagement, and as we know, we all behave differently when we're hungry, and that can cause frustration at times for those students. It can cause a little bit of an outburst or some anger at times, and there's lots of really good examples of things we've seen where Eat Up has had a huge impact in the students' just day-to-day living at school.
Which 3 senses did we use today?
It's always really heartwarming, the feedback we get from the schools, and often we get to hear directly back from the teachers, and just hearing about the difference it makes in the classroom, that kids are enjoying their school more. We even hear things like it's helping to improve attendance. So we've heard stories where parents have been reluctant to send their kids to school at all when they haven't been able to provide lunch through fear of the repercussions of being identified in those circumstances. But the teachers can often reach out to home and say, look, there's a service here for that. Certainly we encourage you to provide a meal and lunch for your kids when you're able to, but on the occasions that you can't, still absolutely send your kids to school. Really, for me, like from time to time we'll drop off and it'll just happen to cross over with lunchtime, and the biggest sort of thrill for me is when from time to time you'll see a child access one of the lunches and just sort of skip off into the playground with a smile on their face as if nothing's different about that. It's just that their day is just as special, just as precious as any others, and there's nothing to be embarrassed about. You can just see that sense of confidence, of strength, and of real joy.
A decade on from Lyndon's first sandwich drop-off, today Eat Up supports over 750 schools across Australia.
We've now delivered over 3 million lunches, and that's completely thanks to volunteers and incredible team and supporters who have made that scale possible. It's always very much bittersweet, of course. We're really proud of the impact we've been able to have and very moved by the backing that we receive, but to also see the scale of the need and the fact that it's so big, and any growth means that there's more need out there. So we've got a lot more work to go yet, but we've always been filled with this belief that the goodwill and the community generosity is even bigger than that need. So we've got a really sort of strong confidence that we can support at the level. It's just going to take a little bit of time, but we're really convinced that we can do it.